Frederick E. Stein, FT3, Fire Control Technician, 3rd class. It was the med cruise, obviously, because I had never been into any of those other countries. I was 18 years old when I joined the Navy, so I would say the most interesting at that time, well, it depends on how you classify interesting. We wound up at the end of the cruise down in Karachi, Pakistan. And I wouldn't call that as my favorite port. It was certainly the most interesting. For 2 weeks we operated with the Pakistani Navy so that we could get in sync with one another. But now thinking back to 1960, Pakistan was really third world country. And you'd see anything on the street from donkeys, elephants, Mercedes, a whole cross section. The dentist had his chair out on the sidewalk, and if you wanted to fill it, he'd just sit down and give him whatever, and he would crank with his feet and drill. That was, and I guess the other thing that really was an impression on me in Karachi, Pakistan, was when we were tied up at dock, the country would always provide a cart so we could dump our garbage. You know, we finish your mess deck, you would take your garbage out and dump it in the donkey-drawn cart. And I had pier duty at the time, which means the ship is only this high off the pier. I mean, you could jump up on the ship, you know. So we always had to have someone guarding on the pier, so they wouldn't jump up and steal the brass nozzles for hose. And I was relieved. I went down, had my chow, and came back up and relieved the other guy. And I watched as the mess guys brought out the garbage and dumped it into the container, into the donkey-drawn cart. And down the road comes a family. It looks like a couple of mothers and about 5 kids or something, and they're chattering in Pakistani. And they come up to looked at the ship first, and then they went over to the donkey cart. And they're looking in there. And they all reached down and took our, garbage. Oh, that steak is too tough to eat. Jump. They took that food, made sandwiches, and sat down in the shade of a tree and ate our garbage. I felt this big. You talk about ugly American feeling. I will never forget how other people were living as we were having steak on a fantail. All right, one of the other memorable moments that I had on the USS Abbot was I was asked by our sister ship to come and observe some firing operations, to work with their fire control technician to see if I could learn anything from them, they could learn anything from me. And so before we left port, I went on to the USS Sullivans and met up with their fire control. We went out and we had exercises and moved the guns, et cetera, et cetera. And then after it was done, our 2 ships were going to go in different directions. Well, I'm on the USS, the Sullivans, and the Abbot's going that way. So they wait a minute. So they said, okay, let's high line them across, because we're not going to see him port for a long time. We got to get this guy back. So the 2 ships got parallel to one another on the same course, and they threw a line across from the Abbot over to the Sullivans, and the guys, deckmates and the Sullivans, hooked it up to the rings up there, and then they hook up a bosun's chair. Now, bosun's chair is something like this, but it's got a pulley up here and bars coming down there, kind of like an amusement ride. If you went to an amusement park, that would be like a bosun's chair. And then I would get in it, and then they would pull the rope real tight, and the other guys on the other side were pulling me over, and the bosun chair would work its way over. The problem is, you saw how narrow the ships are, so they were constantly rolling like this. Now you get two ships that are trying to stay on the same course and are rolling and pitching, and you got a line going across that has to remain taut, or else into the drink, or if too taut, boom, to the stars. So you have 10 of your most trusted shipmates holding on to this line while you're being pulled across and hoping that it doesn't slip, break, because you're looking down and you see the screws, the propellers coming out of the water, and you figure the water's cold, but worse is the propellers are get you. So there was no, so what if he falls in? There was no, so what if you fall in? You just, well, need another guy in the FT rank. So that was scary. It was exciting, and it was also scary. And I have a certificate that they make up all these funny certificates in the Navy, but you did this, you did that. And so I have a certificate that I am part of the Highliner Association, which is really cool. So that was my highlighting experience. Probably 20 minutes, 25 minutes. It seemed like an hour, but it probably was somewhere in the range of maybe 15 to 25 minutes. Because you're still maybe 200 feet from the other ship. It has to be, because the ships have a tendency of turning on you, and so you have to have enough leeway so that they can correct it. But with the helm to steer it properly, they steer properly, and these guys pulling the line have time to keep it taut. So I'd say maybe that's the time frame.